All right, what I'm trying to figure out here is why your deadlift's not moving.
Yeah, me too.
Right? Well, you gotta look, right? You gotta do a little bit of an audit to be able to see what's going on. The weight gain should be indicative of that, kinda.
Really?
Kinda.
Okay.
A lot of people that gain weight, usually a deadlift's gonna drop, right? So, but that's normally because of grip.
Huh, no, that's not my problem at all.
Okay. Okay, so that was one of the things. Yeah, that was one of the things I had to ask about was the grip because of that.
Yeah.
Going from the sumo to the conventional, that's probably a leverage thing. Is that why it just feels better now because you're bigger?
I can do both. So
you're still in that area of both? Because what's your weight now?
I can't do sumo now because I've been using the lifts for about a year now.
Yeah.
So I do conventional. My weight now is about 255.
Okay, so you're pushing on 260.
Yeah.
All right, so the conventional is probably going to, looking at all the videos that I saw of you pulling, the conventional is going to allow you a better start.
Okay.
Because you're going to be able to fill up more here to here to here, right?
Okay.
To be able to drive with that start. Technique is, it's just tension. You're not keeping the right tension, right? Where I won't even talk about the sumo because that was an issue when you were sumoing, to where most people, when they go to pull the slack out of the bar, the hips will go up just a little bit.
Yeah.
Right? Yours go the other way.
Huh.
Right? When you're trying to pull the slack out of the bar.
Right.
So conventional, that's not really that much of a position or issue. It's where you are. Your shoulders are not where they need to be as you pull, and it becomes more apparent as you come up. You end up in a position like this.
Yeah.
Right? To where if you wanted to do this, you can't because you're too far out in front. Right? So a lot of what I'm seeing, it's not really technique directed, even though we're going to look at your technique.
Am I just weak?
Well, I mean, that's what actually that was the first initial reason why I wanted to go back and look at all this stuff, because here's the thing with a 700 pull. As soon as somebody pulls 650, 660, they want 700.
Yeah.
Right? As soon as somebody pulls 615, they're not wanting a 650. Right. They want 625. So you got to make sure as a 700 even you know what I'm saying? A reasonable goal.
So it's normal for people to want to go from like 660, 700.
Yeah, everybody.
I mean, it looks good. It's like 700, man.
Everybody wants to, but when you're talking about a competitive deadlift, a lot of variables come into play.
Yeah.
Like, do you have to be able to place where you want to place, or if you don't care, you know, is there going to be? How do you strategically go about getting that 700? You know, 600, 650, 700. You know, how are you going to plan the attempts out? If you're somebody that typically, you don't have enough history to know, but a lot of lifters can't pull 3 deadlifts. They're too fatigued by the time they get to the deadlift, which it seems like it could be an issue with your meets too, but there's not a lot of them, because when the bar doesn't leave the floor, and it should, because the strength is there to at least get it moving, you're fatigued. So there's a whole other conversation, because yes, you could pull that if maybe you didn't do the second attempt. You just did the opener and went straight to it.
I see. Yeah.
But now you're taking a risk on a total. That's another conversation. Does the total matter to the person? Because if it doesn't matter and the deadlift does, why we even squat first? Just find a deadlift meet.
Yeah.
You know, or you see what I'm saying? So what's the original goal with the whole thing? But the 700 is definitely within reach, but you still got to pull 675. Right? Now, here's the question. To go to a meet, though, and you go, say, 625, 675, you're not going to have any gas to go 700.
Right. You've wasted all your, I got you. I understand.
But there is the weak point that I'm seeing with the quads, with the start.
Really? Okay, see, I thought the same thing. And I've been trying to include some exercises to help with that, and I'll take anything you got to offer.
Deficits.
Deficits.
Great.
The internet is right then, because the YouTube comments are like, just do deficits. I'm like, I don't listen to you guys because you're all gonna.
There's some caveats here, which
they were right.
You know, seeing you do that over there kind of helped with one thing, right? Because it's not just quads; it's adductors as well. You have to be able to have the adductors to be able to, you know, turn and push the hips through.
Right.
Right. So that's a big part of it too. So my original thought was, with all your tricks, all your flexibility stuff, his adductors are not tight enough. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Right. But that was my concern. But if you can do what you did over there in a semi-wide squat, you're feeling a lot in your back, right?
Yeah.
You didn't feel a whole lot in your adductors, which is tell me your adductors are strong enough to pull freaking 700 pounds.
I don't feel anything in my adductors.
Yeah. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I would still, if it was training into a 700 and you were going to put more than 8 weeks in it, which is another conversation.
Okay.
But if you were to do that, I would put wide stance squats somehow.
Okay.
Like super wide to be
super wide,
but not going any lower than where your start of your deadlift would be.
Okay.
You know, it's those people, even the people who hate box squats will agree with me on this one.
Yeah.
If you're doing this to build your deadlift, say it's a safety squat bar and it's in a wide stance to be able to build the starting strength of the adductors from that stop position, a box squat's a good thing to be able to do that with.
Okay.
Because you can sit in there, pause for a second, and then go. Focusing on, you also need to flare your knee. That is one technical thing, but that's sumo, forget that. But I'm talking that for this here.
Yeah.
Now, the other issue is for a deficit, anywhere between one mat, like a half, you know, like that thing there.
Yeah, it was like 1/4 inch or half.
Yeah, but as you get bigger, it's going to change though. That's what we'll see. I would never go higher than 2 inches. Some people can get away with 3. You're flexible. So I don't think this is going to do shit for you. Right. The other thing the deficit does that a lot of people aren't really, they see that it increases the range of motion.
Right.
It changes the hip position.
Right.
Right. So when your hip position is a little bit higher, some people, I could always pull more on a conventional 2-inch deficit than I could off the floor.
Huh.
Because I engage my quads more, put my hips in a more favorable
Your quads
position.
are your strong point. Yeah, because you like squat the most.
Yes,
Gotcha.
yes. So that becomes a matter of how do you get your hips in that same position.
Yeah.
You know, if you can figure out which deficit is your strongest,
Okay.
that's only to be able to figure out where your hip should be.
Oh, gotcha.
Then that becomes the deficit height you never want to train. Because you're the best at it. You want to train at the one you suck at.
Okay.
Right? So let's just say it's anywhere between like 1 and 4 of these.
Yeah.
There's going to be one that you're going to be like, holy shit, this is good.
Well, you're strong on it.
Yes, you might even be stronger than your normal deadlift.
And stay away from it.
Yes, but you need to know which one to avoid.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So we'll just go with this and see what we can find here. But I do think a lot of your deadlift stuff is picking the right exercises before meet. The other thing it looks like you do a lot of is you train for a meet, but you don't train to train for the meet. So say, well, this last one, I only want to talk about this last one.
Say that
I saw
again?
your video.
Wait, say that again.
You train for the meet, but you don't train to train for the meet. So in other words, it's like, okay, I got to meet 6 weeks out. I got to meet 8 weeks out. I'm going to do this. Up until then, I'm just going to do, my bodybuilding and all my other stuff.
Yeah.
But then I'm going to focus here, maybe hire somebody to help dial me in. And that could be anywhere between 8 to 12 weeks out. Then that's what you do. So essentially all you're doing is peaking.
Yeah.
You're not doing anything to develop any weak points, technically, physically, mentally, or anything.
Okay.
In the weeks before that. So let's say you're familiar with block training, right?
Yes.
So let's say those blocks, right, are the blocks leading into the meet. Okay. So you jump straight into a strength block, then like a peaking block, right, and then a realization block, and then there you go.
Right.
Where's the conditioning block, right? So in your mind, the conditioning block would be like bodybuilding.
Right.
But is it? Right? Because the conditioning for what? Conditioning for the adductors to have the time under tension for the deadlift, conditioning for you to be able to pull 3 deadlifts, conditioning to build their quads up for the deadlift.
I see.
But you see what I'm saying? To you, it's just quads for the bodybuilding. And I think you can do both because that kind of falls into this weird power building type thing.
Right, yeah.
But the ones that you're doing for the powerlifting, for the deadlift, have to stay consistent.
Okay.
In waves that help you make them better. Where the bodybuilding stuff, typically, you can just rotate in and out. It's a different conversation.
Understand.
It's fill the muscle up, how's the muscle look, jump on, you know what I'm saying? It's more just, at some point, just surviving until you can get to the show and keeping as much blood and tearing as much tissue down as you can. But even with that, if it is a show, and you say you're going to do a show, the last 6 weeks become almost precautionary. Or not cautionary. Like, you don't want to put anything in there too risky, right? Because that's the worst time to get hurt.
Right.
Right? But some of the things with the quads can stay in there.
Okay, so I see what you're saying is I need to find what quad exercise is going to carry over to my conventional deadlift the most.
We'll look for that, but
and then I need to keep that in.
You actually
for a long block.
Yeah, I mean, I come from more of a consonant block type background. I would say 3 or 4 that you can rotate through. Maybe in 3-week phases, you do this one, then you do this one, then you go back to this one. Because if you just change it all the time, you're not going to accumulate to it at all.
Yeah.
And if you use it all the time, it's gonna regress because you're just using the same thing all the time. So there'll be a few. The trick is going to be, and I'll be able to help you do that. What movements need to go in there that are going to help the deadlift? right? Because you can go online and say, what quad movements help the deadlift, and search all you want.
And
right?
deficit deadlift.
So deficit deadlift. Well, what the hell does that mean, right? Because you can't do, let's say your best deficit deadlift that you need to do for training is off a 3.5 inch deficit.
Yeah.
I would be the last person to tell you to do that 6 to 8 weeks before a show. It's fucking stupid. Right? Why put yourself in that vulnerable position when your waist isn't going to be able to stay braced the way it should be during that time period? Plus, your waist is going to change.
Yeah.
You know, so a lot of the bottom part of the deadlift too is based upon how you use your torso, how you drive your torso into your legs. Your waist goes from here to here because of bodybuilding show.
Yeah.
Any of that deficit between here to here is not specific to the actual deadlift. You see what I'm saying? So that's where the deficits don't fit the bill. As you get leaner, as your waist gets smaller, because it's not really going to be the specific deficit we're looking for. So that's a front end exercise, right? So something you'd be doing now. You know, as you get leaner, that's going to rotate out, and what's going to rotate in.
Find the one that works for your leaner torso. So you're matching the deficit to your torso.
Yes.
Wow. Well, when you put it that way, it sounds really funny. Like matching the deficit to your torso and finding the one that you're weakest at to train that, right?
Yep.
Okay.
It's the opposite.
Cool.
I mean, you're trying to do opposite of normal humans, right?
Well, be stronger.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, go ahead. Do some pulls.
All right.
Right now, just warm your back up from the squats. However you need to. One thing I do kind of differ with the internet on, I'm not a big fan of the pause deadlifts for the bottom.
Oh yeah.
I look at things psychologically probably more than I look at them physically.
Okay.
Why teach somebody to stop after they start pulling?
Huh.
And it's kind of like a reinforcing, everything's movement pattern, reinforcing movement patterns. And I understand why they're doing it.
Time under tension.
And I see both parts of it. I'm not saying I would never put them in there. But if that is a specific weak point that somebody has, I don't know if I would put that in there as a correction, especially when I've heard them maybe on video tell, you know, I told Bartley, I always miss on the floor.
Yes.
Okay?
Yeah. If it's not moving, it's not moving. Once
Well,
it's moving,
look, here's my problem here. You're reinforcing that every single time you say that to somebody. Every time I miss, it's on the floor. If it's not moving, it's not moving. So what mental signals are we telling?
I'm telling myself.
You know, when I get fatigue, it's not coming off the floor.
Yeah.
All right, then you're going to reinforce that by pulling a little bit and pausing. You know what I'm saying? It's like we got to figure out how to not fucking have that happen, right? To where it's like, you know what? If I would have pulled it on the third, you know, without, if I would have passed my second pull on third, it would have been there.
Yeah.
That's different than it always misses. You know, it always misses on the floor.
Understand.
You see what I'm saying? It's a self-fulfilling prophecy because as you get up to that 700, even if you hit your ammonia, you can't fucking lie to me, right? You're going up there at some point in your mind is you're trying to tell yourself, not this time.
Yeah.
Well, what not this time? It's not going to get stuck on the floor this time. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So there's that aspect too. So anything that's reinforcing a self-fulfilling negative pattern, I want to break it.
Gotcha.
No matter what. So again, I'm not saying that it's a bad exercise. I'm saying for somebody that I've heard say in a video and just reinforced it right here in front of me,
right? It's
a bad exercise.
Okay, cool. Well, I'll stop doing that then. It hasn't helped me, honestly. So, no hard
Mark
feeling.
did a really good job with your finish of the deadlift.
Yeah.
I want to spend more time just
block out,
reinforce all that because that was really good. I want to get enough weight on here to where we can work the start a little bit. Let's go to 2 1/4. How you said? We need like have you heard the teeter-totter analogy?
No.
Your weight going backwards. If we can get say you're like this here, it's a teeter-totter, and you weigh 250 pounds, right? And that's 135 pounds. If your weight is teetering this way, 135 should just be free.
Yeah.
Right? Your body weight should be free.
Right.
Right? So if you have to pull really any strain at all with anything under your body weight, then you're not using your leverage of kind of falling. If let's just say you fell over backwards while holding the ball or holding the bar, and your feet were nailed into the platform, and you fell over backwards, the weight has to go up, right?
Right.
It has to, because you weigh more than the bar.
Sometimes I think about like when I see like a really large guy lifting it, the way a lot of them will. No, I don't have the same leverages. I understand this doesn't apply to me, but just watching them really get into it, it does look like that when they lift.
They're falling over. Yeah, hell, they weigh 380 pounds.
Yeah.
That's like taking 300 pounds off the bar.
Do you care what you're saying?
I don't give a.
Thank God.
I got more important things to worry about.
Yeah.
It looks like a lot of your tension is in your upper glutes and the upper erectors when you're starting.
Yeah.
I want to kind of shift it down into your quads.
All right.
A little bit more. We're going to need a little more weight. And I want to make sure what I'm seeing is what I'm seeing too.
Gotcha. Wait.
Yeah, like 275, 315.
I watched your video on this. I know what you're looking for.
Well, that's not right now.
Shoulders! Get your shoulders back!
Actually, no, that's not what I'm looking at right now. I'm looking at your vastus medialis.
Vastus medialis.
Right, your teardrop, right? Your teardrop.
All right.
Right?
Well, this one is atrophy compared to this one because it's my jumping leg for tricking.
Yes.
For my whole life.
Yeah, I mean, they're both kind of atrophy compared to the rest of the quad.
Yeah.
So, fortunately, that's kind of part of the starting position.
Oh, God damn it.
Not really, right? Because it's also a weak point if you're going to get on stage to bodybuild.
Yeah.
So that's a good thing. Because the two weak points are exactly what you need to do.
So, it's like power building.
Yeah, I mean, outside the deficits, anything that's going to work the BMO is probably going to help the start of your deadlift. You can keep that there, that'll be enough.
All right?
Yep. You can get your weight going backwards now. Make sure you don't break your fucking face or break your head.
I have no idea what's coming up, so when we scooch the barbell all the way to the front of a
well, I'm only doing this
6 foot platform. You said I'm going to break my face. I'm ready, man.
Well, I'm worried.
Bring it, Dave.
Okay, if you fall over backwards,
okay.
I want to know what's behind you if you fall.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to do as much space.
Whenever I've done any sort of snatch training for Olympic lifting, it's like my weakness. It's like, is there anything behind me at all?
Yes.
Like anything.
Yes.
And I'm going to go that way.
All right, so you know how to pull the slack out of the bar, right? This isn't really enough weight for you to feel the slack out of the bar because it's just not enough. But
right.
The other thing that's common with the slack out of the bar is you hear that click.
Yeah.
There's that click. So this time when you go down to pull, you're only going to do a single. I want you to pull until you hear the click and use that as your pause. So pull until you hear the click. Get as tense as you can, then pull.
Okay. I usually try to flex my triceps as hard as I can.
You're fine with that. Just go with the click.
Right.
If you always do that, that's going to be natural. I'm trying to get your body weight going back. So you're going to squeeze, get the click. All right, this time do it one more time. But when you get the click, try to get up on your heels.
Okay.
Or yes, lean back on your your heels. More. That's a little better.
Oh.
Okay, good. That's better.
Yeah, that's way different.
We need a little more weight.
Okay.
Because that one almost sent you flying. You see what just happened there, though? That's that counterbalance we're talking about.
Where's the?
I just threw a quarter on it.
Yeah. There, that one.
But the reason I'm putting that weight on it because now you got your body weight going backwards, which is creating more of that teeter-totter we're talking about.
Right.
Which is why that all happened. I want to balance the teeter-totter out a little bit by front loading here, so we can reinforce, so you can figure out what you just did.
Okay. Front loading, you mean?
Putting the weight here. The weight it's heavier, so it's going to be harder for you to fall back.
Oh, I see. I got you.
One more time. More deliberate. There you go.
The heels is helping. You know, a heel cue is something that I kind of got away from because someone's like, no, it needs to be more midfoot actually.
Here,
and I kind of
okay, that's cueing.
Yeah.
That's powerlifting cueing. That's internet cueing.
Yeah.
I hate all that, right? Because do I think it should be midfoot? Yes, right? I do.
Yeah.
But I want you to pull more. So I'm going to tell you whatever the fuck I need to tell you to get you to be able to pull more.
Right.
Right? Because when the weight gets heavier, it will be midfoot. You see what I'm saying? I will tell somebody.
No matter what you do, it's just going to happen.
Well, with you it will, because the weight's going to start. Remember, we just counterbalance the weight, right? Because we put more on there. We put more on there, that's going to happen. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So just because you hear somebody, the cues are very specific to a person. That's going to work based upon what they're going to respond to. If you're trying to teach somebody how to trick, right?
Right.
You can't teach everybody exactly the same way.
No.
Right? Some people are way more coachable. Some people are just like imbeciles.
Yeah.
Right? So sometimes you got to tell an imbecile to do something you would never tell this person to do. Even though you know it's the wrong thing to tell them to do, but if they respond the right way,
right,
you're going to tell them.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
No, yeah.
What people try to do is universally apply cues,
right,
which is so stupid, because what comes out my mouth and goes into the camera could be completely perceived different when it goes into your head.
Right.
Heels. There we go. Ooh, let's do it the lazy way. Let's just throw another quarter over the top. A lot of what Mark was showing was, kind of how to engage the upper glutes and all that other kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I'm trying to avoid that even needing to be done.
Okay.
Right? Because if you're in the position, it's automatically going to happen anyhow.
Yeah.
But you still need to know it, because at some point in time, there's a thing called gravity. The weight starts to get heavier.
Yeah.
And you're going to have to push through, because you do have what he was seeing that I saw. You have a tendency when you're here to do this, right? Here, basically arch, right? Where if it's here,
get the hips underneath it sooner.
Yeah. I mean, if it's here, I can either do this, right, and see all that motion from here to here, or I can be here and just. So one way the bar goes this much further, the other way the bar goes like no further.
You're trying to prevent the need for that having to happen later.
Yes.
I see what you're saying.
But using your flip as an example, the back flip as an example, that's for later down the road.
Yeah.
This, you got to get this right.
Okay. One more?
Yeah, rest for a minute, do another one.
Yeah.
It's starting to default back a little bit.
Okay.
See, now we're starting to see where the quads are starting to expose themselves as being part of the issue here, right?
Right.
So all sticking points are, and I've addressed all of them, right? Mental, physical, and technical. It's always a spectrum of the three. So you can't look at one and without the other. Everybody online wants to know, what exercise do I need to do to increase the start of my deadlift, right? Typically, that exercise, let's put it this way, if that was always the answer, nobody would ever have a sticking point.
True.
Because everybody has those answers online.
Yes.
Nobody wants to look at the technical part. Some do, some don't, you know what I'm saying? But no, most people online want the exercise. Don't tell me what I'm doing is wrong. Because if you try to tell them what they were doing technically wrong, they're going to try to tell you why they're doing it. Well, I do it because. You see what I'm saying? So it's harder to coach that. Nobody wants to talk about the mental side.
Okay.
So you got to address all three.
It's interesting, the pause deadlift, taking that out, not because, it's not training the muscles at that position, but it's a confidence issue, and it's kind of reinforcing.
It's all three again, right?
Yeah,
so if I'm trying to help somebody with.
I never thought about it that way.
Yeah. But to me, it's the only way to look at somebody. You're a person, right? You're not just a lifter. You got a life. You got all these other things that are going on that all come to a point of you being in front of that bar, right? I can't just look at, okay, this is just the lifter guy and the technique guy.
Yeah.
There's all these other variables that go into that too. Hell, nutrition's a variable. If it's really for a power lifter, even if it's really a mess, it's still a variable. They don't get the deadlift because they're lat cramps, pec cramps. It's a hydration issue. You see, so you got to look globally at everything, and can't pinpoint down just on one thing. And that's what everybody does. And you may even do it yourself. I think you might be a little different because the tricking makes you have to look. Right. You do a lot of things. Right? A lot of things. So it's a cluster of a mess of physical activities that you put together in 1 year.
Right.
But you have to somehow or another structure all that to be able to happen.
Right.
Which means you can't put too many eggs in one basket because it's going to hurt.
Yes.
So you see what I'm saying? You have to look more globally. So that's why I'm talking to you about these three. I think you can understand where I'm coming from with it.
Oh, yeah.
Where if it's just a 100% pure meathead that they only live for lifting weights and that's the only thing that they ever do, it's a way harder conversation to have. You see what I'm saying? Because it's just different.
No, I got you. I'm glad you know that, though, because most of the people who are going to be giving me advice on this are geared towards people who are like, all they do is powerlifting. You know? So it's like, now you have to look at, well, this guy does all this other stuff. How can he...
Well, the thing, even with the pure meatheads, though, they still have a lot of other stuff.
Yeah.
You still got to find. You still need to look at all three.
Right.
But I guess what I'm trying to say is, I wouldn't be doing it on video or this deep with somebody else because I can't get there.
Yeah.
It would take me weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks before I could even get to that point. We're just going to play around with the deficit a little bit. We're not even going to work up. We're going to go to different heights to see when his quads are going to start doing what I want to see them do. So this is roughly 3/4 of an inch or a half inch. So we'll just do a triple and see how it goes.
Triple, okay?
Yeah.
Same cueing and everything, right?
Yeah. You may not even need it, but practice it anyhow.
Yeah.
Start to feel it more in your quads?
Actually, no.
Okay. It looks like it is.
In my abs. I don't know what that means.
You need to go up.
Yeah, I don't either, so I'm just going to ignore it.
Okay.
That's not a good one.
That's not a good one?
That's not a good one.
Is that what you want?
No, that's all lower back. We got to go up. We got to get the quads activated more. That's probably the one you're going to pull the most on.
Really?
Most definitely. Grab two, but we'll just put one right now.
So that's your best height then?
Yeah, so apparently you're supposed to pick your best one and throw it in the trash and find your worst one and train that.
Great.
Yeah, that's like... I love it.
Like, stop! That's too good! We're going to get to a spot where you're going to feel, that might even be, where's your stance at? Get on there real quick.
Yeah, we might need to.
I don't want to change the stance at all.
Yeah, this is too narrow, I think.
Yeah.
Sorry about that, bro.
Oh, no, you're good, man. Got all sorts of toys around here.
I know.
Those are box squat.
Ooh, that would.
Yeah, those are box squat risers. Those are deadlift mats. You gotta have all your bases covered. All right, that's getting better. You need to squat down a little bit more, though.
Squat down more? Okay.
Yeah.
So let me tell you what it's going through my head when I'm positioning myself real quick. So what I'm trying to do is, of course, I don't want to be here. Yeah. But it's just right around there. And then when I go down, I'm trying to do it so my shins are kind of parallel at the start to get my hip position where I need them to be strongest. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay, so that's what I'm doing.
Yeah, but you're going to have to squat a little bit more, right? Which means your hips are going to have to drop more. The reason we're going up is to get your hips to drop more. I don't want you to purposely do it.
Yeah.
I want the risers to do it.
Okay, so I have really, really long arms. Do you want to go ahead and add another riser real quick?
That was pretty close right there. So do another one here real quick.
All right.
Let's get there. Because I want to get you a few different positions, right? So where are we at there? 2, right about?
Exactly.
All right, 2 is definitely a workable one for you. Now we'll try to go to 3. Anything under 2, I wouldn't mess with.
Okay.
And only, I mean, not for deadlift.
Is there a top limit? I've read that like most people do too high.
3 is usually where most people are going to call a top, but you're not most people because your flexibility is higher.
Yeah.
So we'll go a little over 3 to be able to see.
Okay.
But we'll be able to tell.
All right.
We can always put 2 of the box squat ones at the bottom level, and then these over the top.
All right. We need more those mats here.
There we go. Perfect.
So is that like
That should be pretty
2 and almost 3? We'll call it almost 3. Yeah.
Oop. Yep.
Yeah, it's just like right.
Yeah, it's
right.
not, yeah.
Basically 3.
Must be China mats, right? There you go. All right, where do you feel that?
I do feel it more in the quads, but it's still a lot lower back.
All right, let's try to go up.
Ooh.
Go up one more mat.
Get the 2 box squat ones. We'll have to just put on.
Split them?
Yeah.
No problem. Looks like that.
Just put it on the bottom, John.
That'll be all right there. It's not gonna slide out.
Famous last part.
So that's what, like almost 4? Sorry, I keep asking.
Yeah, I'm not good with the inches. I kind of know more like how far away from the foot. I mean, you can actually go to where it's just right in the top of your foot, I believe.
Oh, really?
So we have a little ways to be able to go.
Okay.
But 3 is definitely the starting point for sure. It might even be 5.
5 inches.
I got to get you to squat down, you know, and I don't want you to, I'm trying not to tell you certain
You
things.
just need shorter arms, right?
Yeah.
Can you not have such long arms?
Yeah.
Okay, maybe I can change my grip then, because I usually grip it kind of like here to kind of give it a little.
Yeah, don't tuck the grip. See what happens.
Don't do that.
Yeah, don't reach under so hard.
Okay.
No, actually keep reaching under hard because that forces you to have to go lower.
No, what I'm saying is I'm not doing that.
Oh, okay.
I'm kind of holding
do
here.
That. No, do that.
Reach under that.
Yeah, really.
Really like grip it, yeah. 'Cause
Yeah.
my grip is so strong, I can let it hang there.
No, okay,
That gives me
okay.
an extra inch. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
But it's a habit. I didn't even
That's
think
good though. I didn't see that. That's good. There we go.
There's more tension on the quads.
Yeah,
Slower lift too, yeah.
Well, it's going to be. It's going to be because now we're starting to get to where it's going to be harder. Remember, harder, better.
Right, yeah.
Okay.
You see how much I shortened it?
Yeah. That was 2 things that went on there too.
Yeah.
Send to shorten your arms, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah. We have one more mat. What's that one over there? Is that a mat or is that?
Oh, you're gonna go higher.
We'll go one more higher.
Please. Got more.
Oh,
Got more.
I'm thinking 3, 4, and 5 would be your markers.
Okay.
Now, because it's a quad thing too, we're not. This could be thrown in for bodybuilding stuff too.
Yeah.
Because I don't see any need of going anything lower than a triple. Probably more 5s
5.
for the hypertrophy work because your quads, while they need to get stronger,
Have to have time.
that typically isn't going to respond on heavy max work.
Okay.
Get your weight going back. You got to squat down. And then shift back. No, you didn't shift back. Squat down and remember the click?
Yeah.
Click and heels.
Okay. All right.
Yep.
Okay, wait. This is really strange, but
Where?
I think I have to take off my shoes. This is getting in the way.
All right.
with the bar. It's just
Okay. So the second one, I know you had to feel in your back, but what did the first one feel like?
oh, it's just it's so slow that there's more tension.
Okay, that's
Yeah,
what
yeah.
Okay. There we go. So we'll do another one here just to make sure you're getting the click and back. Now that's starting to come back into play where it really didn't matter so much.
Yeah.
But what you're trying to do is to default into almost a stiff leg,
Default. Okay.
right? Because you have two options. You can default into a stiff leg, right? Or you can squat down a little bit more and go into the muscle that you're not strong at.
Okay.
So naturally you're going to want to default to where you're the strongest,
I see.
right? So you need to sit into where you're the weakest.
Okay. So just okay.
Now we can start worrying about the quads and sitting down and all the other stuff because it's going to feel really, really hard if you try to stiff leg that.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, not really. I mean, you get what I'm saying. It's going to feel way different.
yeah.
It's going to feel all hamstrings and low back if you try to stiff leg it compared to if you try to squat it up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then it's going to be quads and lats.
Okay.
So from the powerlifting standpoint, this is going to develop that start of the deadlift. From the bodybuilding standpoint, it's going to be good for it's going to be really good for the lats.
Okay.
So this might be something that you'd even move your grip out a little bit, almost to like a snatch grip.
Snatch grip.
When you start really training it for before the show, right?
Oh, I see. I see.
I'm thinking down the line, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Like here, you got the time to try to work these technical things and these things, but at some point in time, it needs to transition into the bodybuilding training.
Yeah.
This could be a pretty good exercise, even at 225, 275, slower tempo, snatch grip.
Yeah.
You know, and just almost like you know how high rack pulls sometimes just blast your lats.
Right. Yeah.
It's going to kind of put you in that same top position, but you got to squat way down.
Okay. Gotcha. Now I'm gonna do normal grip now.
No, yeah, normal grip now.
Yeah.
There you go. A little sloppy on that one. That's all right, you got it. You got it. You know what you're looking for, though, right?
Yeah.
All right. So tell me what you're looking to feel.
You got to get the click, and then
Yeah.
you got to kind of have it.
That's
drive
external.
back
What
to
are
the
you
heels.
internally trying to feel when you're doing this?
Like quads and
Okay.
quads and lats.
Okay, quads and lats. You feel in the lower back, hamstrings. You got to shift it
Yeah.
off.
Should I change my breathing on this? Like higher rep sets, like
Yeah, you're
usually.
gonna have to.
Okay, because like usually I'm used to doing like lower reps in this, so it's like breathe, brace, you hold it, keep that pressure. But when you're like doing,
You're not gonna be able to do high reps on this passing out.
yeah,
The time under tension is just so high.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? So you could, if it's lighter, you could breathe up at the top,
okay,
right? But that gets, just keep it at 3s and 5s if you have to.
okay,
You know, there's some exercises that are just too much of a clusterfuck to figure out how to breathe on.
yeah,
If this, I mean, for doing, think about doing this with a snatch grip, right? For sets of 8, really?
yeah. See, that's a good point. It's gonna be really annoying.
Unless it was beltless. If it's lighter though, keep that in mind too.
Yeah.
Like let's try the snatch grip on this next one. We'll take a plate off, take the belt off, and the breathing will be completely different.
All right.
More squat at the start.
More squat.
Yep.
Okay.
There you go. Now lats. Boom. There. Finish hard with the lats. There. That's good. That's good. I think that's something that you can transition to. Remember we talking about the off season and the bodybuilding thing?
Yeah.
I think that's something you can transition to before the show to still keep the quads doing what they were taught to do.
Yeah.
Right? Now, it's not going to make them stronger, right? Because the other exercises will do that, but it's going to maintain it. Remember when I said you got to get ready to get ready?
Yeah.
Right? So part of this getting ready to get ready means you have to get in there with at least the same strength that you had in the off point to be able to get to that starting line for the powerlifting, not let it regress. Right? With the bodybuilding cut and that kind of stuff, so it's not really the bodybuilding cut, so to say, it's the change of movements.
Right.
That creates a lot of that regression. Sometimes all you need to do is to find like sister movements, you know, or brother movements that keep enough of that quad work still the same, right?
Yeah.
Even if it's still at 60% or 50% of the working weight that it was when that was just the primary movement, it's enough to maintain.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying?
No, I get what you're saying. Because if you just ditched it all, just did bodybuilding movements, you're losing a lot of this.
Especially when it's a weak point that you're trying to work on.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah.
So we got a 3 inch, 4 inch, 5 inch. So you got 3 different heights. Then you got 2 different styles. You got just the regular pull, with the freaking alternating grip, whatever you want to call it, and then you got a snatch grip for the bodybuilding. Right. So there's 6.
Okay.
Right. So those can alternate. I don't know if I'd alternate them in back to back. Like I wouldn't do a 3 inch for 2 weeks, 4 inch for 2 weeks, and that I would break it up with something like a 3 inch for 2 weeks and probably deadlift a week off because you deadlift too much. Yeah. Then maybe a regular deadlift. Yeah. Maybe a couple weeks of regular deadlift, then a 4 inch, then a couple weeks of regular deadlift, and kind of bust it that way. Yeah. And right there, we already got almost 2.5, 3 months, right there. Right. Right. And now you're ready to get ready for the show. So now you're back to this again with the snatch grip. Yeah. Right. And then something else for whatever you want to do for the back deadlift. You're going to pull a lot of the pulls out for the. It's just you don't do a lot of pulls by maybe high pulls or not high pulls, but high rack pulls.
High rack pulls.
For the lats, kind of. You got like those 6 exercises give you 4, 5 months. Right. Of that rotation that we were talking about.
Gotcha.
And that's for the prime spot.
There we go. All right. You do those like what, once a week on leg day, or?
You can fit them in wherever you want. I like them on leg day, but when we start talking about training splits with bodybuilding, it gets really weird. Okay. For now, on the strength stuff, whenever you pull is when I would put this. Okay. Right. So some people will squat and pull on different days. Some people do it on the same days. Yeah. I would keep this on the pull day. Okay. And then when it moves towards the bodybuilding splits, that's kind of like personal preference. Does it go on back day or does it go on leg day? I guess it would depend on how you're structuring your back training. Yeah. Because all that really is an isometric contraction, quasi-isometric contraction for the lat. So it's not main back. So it could be like a mini back workout, just that movement. Yeah. You see?
Okay, yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So to put it in with the back day might be a lot of work. Right. Because back is a lot of work, especially bodybuilding style. Yeah. It's a lot of work.
Well, yeah, but my back is my strong point.
So so that's even going to be more work though, right? Because the load's going to be higher, so the intensity is higher. So that might be better to not be on that back day come bodybuilding training. Gotcha. Because then it just becomes, this isn't, for the amount of lat work that you do in your lats, this is nothing for your lats. Yeah. You're not going to fatigue your lats doing this. Right?
Yeah. No, more than anything, it's more of a headache thing, all that tension, from these heavy lifts, especially that crap over there.
That's the other thing too, right?
Hack squat headache.
Well, yeah, that's why I like it on leg day too, though, because all that head stress, that's something your body has to recover from too. Okay. So to have that head stress twice in 1 week is asking your body to recover from stimulus that I don't even know if we can define what it is. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Because it's not physical stimulus. If it's fucking with your brain, it's fucking with the circulation to your brain and all this other stuff. Yeah. Probably it's best to only put that on 1 day. Okay. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And then as the bodybuilding show gets closer, that becomes, is it necessary, is it specific to even be in there at all? Right. Especially when the calories are really low. I gotcha. Yeah. Ego doesn't need to play a role the last 6 weeks. All right, Juji, it was great coming out. It was great working with you. I enjoyed it. Make sure to check out his channel and his Instagram. And you got like a TikTok too?
No, actually.
So just Instagram. And
do you have a TikTok?
Sure.
You do?
No, I don't.
Good.
Anyhow, check that stuff out. We'll put it in the description box below. Thank you, like, subscribe, and whatever else you're supposed to do.